Hey guys, welcome back. Logan here from LlamaIndex. Today we're starting a new video series, Bottoms-Up Development with LlamaIndex. Now, what do I mean by bottoms-up development? Well, within LlamaIndex, there are a ton of components, and any number of these you're probably going to need to customize when you're building, your own query pipeline for your own application. And so this video series is going to kind of cover these low-level components, how you can customize them, and how you can kind of stitch them all together into your own query pipeline. So in order to kind of demonstrate this, we have a project that we're going to kind of cover across multiple videos. We're going to be building a sort of query engine or query pipeline across the LlamaIndex documentation. And through this process, we're going to go through a ton of really low-level components, LLMs, documents and nodes, retrievers, and show you how to customize these and how you can kind of stitch them all together, and as well as how you can test and debug each component. And so starting off first, we're going to cover LLMs. So right now in LlamaIndex, we have a ton of LLMs that were recently introduced. We have OpenAI, Hugging Face, any LLM from LangChain is supported. Azure was just added. It's actually not even on this list. And custom LLMs. And each of these have really low-level basic methods. Complete for basic text completion. Chat for chat response to a list of chat messages, as well as streaming for each of those, and then as well as there's async versions of all of these. And so using these at this low level is super simple, as we can see in this example down here. You can instantiate your LLM super easily and really quickly, ask it to tell you a joke. It'll give you a response. You can look at the response text, or you can actually look at the raw JSON that came from that LLM response. In addition to that, there's also the kind of chat methods. So in this case now, the input instead of a string is going to be a list of messages. And so in this simple example here, we have a system message asking it to talk like a pirate, and then the same thing again, the user is asking to tell me a joke. And here, ChatGPT does its best to tell a pirate joke, I guess. Not quite following instructions, but close enough. And that's basically it to these LLM components. They're super simple to set up and use, and it's a really good way to start testing these LLMs for your application. We can prompt it with specific things that we're going to ask it later using, documents that it's going to read later, and really get a feel for, is this LLM going to work for my use case, or do I need to do prompt engineering or find a different LLM? And so in order to kind of walk through this a bit more, I'm going to go through a notebook here that actually, demonstrates this. So like I mentioned before, we're going to try and build a kind of query engine over the LlamaIndex documentation. It's going to be highly customized and basically touch everything that can be customized. But starting with the LLMs, you can just set your API keys. Right now, I've just copied the documentation from LlamaIndex. So I'm going to read a quick markdown file. It's the starter example. I'm going to instantiate our LLM just like we saw before. Here, I've copied the kind of internal prompt templates from LlamaIndex. The two main ones that get used the most are the text QA template and the refine template. The main difference between these two is that the refine template takes an existing answer and tries to refine it, so either update it or repeat it after reading some new context. And this basically only gets used when the text retrieved for a query doesn't fit into a single LLM call, so we need to refine it. And so these are the two prompts that I want to test right now. So I'm going to set those up. And from there, we can basically just start testing. So using the starter example, I'm going to ask, how can I install LlamaIndex? To install LlamaIndex, you can follow good answer. Next, we're going to ask it how to create an index. This one's going to be a bit more complicated, I think. There's a few more steps to how to do that. Yep. So it gave us a response here, pretty detailed, looks pretty good. But actually, I don't need all this information. I just want it with code. So let's see if we can get it to write just answering using code. In this case, I'm also going to use the stream complete method. So this is going to return a generator. And for every response in this generator, we're going to print the delta, which is just the new change that has come in from the LLM, or the new text. So it's going to stream that really fast, and that example looks perfect. So obviously, this is working pretty well with this template and with this content that we've loaded. And we know this because we're testing this low-level LLM API. We can also test the refine template here as well. Here I give it one of the answers it gave before as an existing answer, and then I'm going to say, no, I want this to write your answer using only code. So let's see if the LLM can handle this refined template now. It gave it in code, not entirely all in code, but this does actually look really correct, and this is it's a good answer. Nice. In addition to this, there are also the chat endpoints, which, as I mentioned before, need a list of chat messages. This is useful if you maybe want to give it a system prompt. In this case, we're giving it a system prompt telling it that it's a QA bot answering questions about LlamaIndex. So if we ask it how to create an index again, we should get something pretty helpful, I would say. And again, a long, detailed response, which is fine by me. So yeah, that's basically it. In this video, we kind of covered how to use these low-level LLM APIs and how to kind of quickly get started with testing inputs and outputs using your own data. And this is super helpful because if you have a super specific use case, you want to make sure that the LLM you're using can handle the use case that you have intended for it. In this case, it looks pretty good. So in the next video, we're going to move on to testing document loading and how we can construct documents and nodes from the LlamaIndex documentation. So see you in the next video. Thanks.